There is a long list of people that you do not want to confront when it comes to a war, and KIRITSUGU is definitely one of them. For one of his main weapons, he has the Thompson Contender that comes equipped with 66 bullets filled with magical energy that can destroy your magic circuits. These bullets come with the unique severing and binding origin that belongs to KIRITSUGU, and he had to grind powder from his own ribs just to make them. Just taking a shot from these was not only strong enough to ruin Kano's magic circuits, but it disabled him from ever using magecraft ever again. Since magic circuits work like fake nerves, this handicapped him as well. KIRITSUGU himself mentioned that you would need the defense of at least an armored vehicle to stop it. Again, during their battle, Kano had formal wear that blocked off magical blaze, fire, lightning, ice, and KIRITSUGU still got through. He used this to break Kirei's mana-infused black keys, which were being reinforced by command spells. On top of this, he has the Calico M950 submachine gun that fires 700 shots per minute, and for the far range, of course, he has the Walther semi-automatic sniper rifle. Anybody can get domed up. This comes with multiple scopes fitted to take down mages in each situation. He has the combat knife that he used against Kirei at close range in their battle. He used this same knife as a projectile to damage one of Kirei's legs. He has smoke grenades that he used for Maya in her confrontation with Kirei. And that's not all. If those don't work, he's got stun grenades and C2 explosives too. In Zero specifically, he had access to Avalon, literally one of the best phantasms to exist. It has a passive effect that allows for continuous healing as long as you're near Arthur. From his fight with Kirei, we know that he had his lungs and his heart brutally crushed, and Avalon was able to heal these injuries before they took his life. You have the consultation room, which is undoubtedly the greatest canon next to Carnival Phantasm, where Irie explains that Avalon heals the internal wounds from Time Alter as well. Keep in mind that KIRITSUGU still had to endure the pain from regenerating. It's like he was losing his life and reviving over and over while fighting Kirei at the same time, and he's just punching through it with sheer willpower. He is one of the only people that survived being drenched in the Grail mud, which we know was wiping out everything in the vicinity. He has a wireless camera that he can attach to bat familiars when he needs to use them for surveillance. This also tactfully allows him to keep up with Irie and Saber without wasting any magical energy. He has a flare gun that he used as a signal against Jill in their grand battle. If you think you're gonna get over on KIRITSUGU, think again. He's got the timepiece that we saw from Maya that allows him to overhear conversations. Who needs an investigation unit when you're the one-man army? He's got the luminol spray that allows him to see blood traces whenever he needs it. On top of that, he has a vial of succubus blood on deck that can react to human blood whenever he needs to test these samples. Once again, he has his main magecraft, which is his time alter, that allows him to speed up or slow himself down in relation to time. The story tells us that this is a high caliber technique. It's basically a reality marble that works on the inside instead of out. He has his double accelerate, which he used to dodge Kano's Hydrodrome Mystic Cold several times. This speed alone is stated to be too fast for human eyes to keep up. He's the real Keanu Reeves. You have the triple accelerate, which he used for a tactical advantage against Kirei to get close range. And then of course, if all else fails, you have his square accelerate, where he pushes his body to the utmost limit and goes 4 times his original speed. From doing this, he had to ignore the explosive pain from every part of his being. Using this, he was able to dodge one of Kirei's black keys as a projectile. Then you have his triple stagnate, where he slows his speed down to 1/3 of what it would be normally. This worked so well that it convinced Kano's Mystic Cold that he didn't even exist. It made his heartbeat practically undetectable for a short amount of time. Using his triple accelerate, he hit Kirei with enough force behind his gun to break his right arm. Going back to his endurance, you had him ignoring the severe pain that it took to summon Saber. For the entire war, he hardly had any rest at all and barely showed any exhaustion. In several scenarios, he tactfully mapped out his way to fight against Kano's Hydrodrome. To a master that lacks skill, this wouldn't even be possible. He's been shown doing this while performing a backflip backflip and picking up his gun at the same time. A real menace. From his background, we know that he studied Natalia, who was a mercenary, taking on all of her skills and techniques in battle. One of his major advantages is that he is not lawful. This man planted bombs in the public just to get to Cana. He will do whatever it takes to get the job done. He could care less about being fair. He will attack his enemy in his sleep if that means he'll get the win. He's the one that tossed the smoke grenade that tactfully allowed Maya to escape in her interaction against Kirei. He took down Cana's entire hotel base. Keep in mind that this hotel had 24 layers of bounded fields ready for anybody that came in it. 24 layers. And KIRITSUGU said, bet. We're blowing it up. We don't play by the rules. He had claymores in some of the vases that you find throughout the Ironsburn Castle. He's a great analyst, being able to understand Hydrodrome's weakness after seeing it one time. Even Irisville mentioned not only did he teach her how to drive, but he taught her how to use her magecraft offensively as well. In the consultation room, she mentions that him and Kirei have a high chance of beating an assassin or a caster up close. Speaking of Kirei, we know that he's a highly trained executor from the church that's been training since the age of 10, and KIRITSUGU still won. To add on to that, it's stated that he went 40 hours without sleep right before this fight. Dude went 40 hours without sleep before a fight to the death. Tell me that he isn't insane. Not only was he already exhausted during the fight, but he was using his unrefined movements as an advantage to throw Kirei off. It tells us that he tactfully stayed inside of Kirei's blind spot to give himself yet another advantage. He took out an entire plane on his own using his missile launcher when he was only in his teens. He flat out domed up Gilles de Ray's master with his sniper rifle. He's been fearless for a long time, taking out his own father when he was only a child. He's got the infrared, which helped him look for magic circuits through the fog. He's had precise shooting skills since the time that he was a teen, helping Natalia snipe her targets. Shiro mentions that he can cast a spell on the level of Ren. This same spell is said to be capable of blowing away an entire house. After taking down Canif, he could sense the presence of Diarmu before his arrival. There's his access to hypnosis spells, which he used on a bellhop with ease. We know that he can use this on himself. There was a point in the war where he was up for over 70 hours, 3 days straight, and he's still pushing it. He has spells that allowed him to make medicine for Shiro. The quintessential father strikes again. He could sense Gilgamesh from the shadows despite not being able to see him. He passed through multiple layers for the Mato and the Tosuka households. He's one of the best negotiators you've ever seen. When he infiltrated the Matos and Byakuya tried to tell him he didn't know anything, he shot off his right hand. I bet you know something now. He can focus his magical energy into his eyes to give himself night vision. He can enter the REM stage of sleep in just seconds if he needs to. He tactfully blackmailed Canif into a contract by kidnapping his fiancée, then forced Diarmu to take his own life on top of that. If that wasn't grimy enough, he circumvented the entire deal by having his assistant Maya snipe Canif and his fiancée together. This is just unrighteous. If you think that you're hiding anything from KIRITSUGU, you got another thing coming. This dude was tapping police radios and multiple surveillance cameras just for information. In his fight against Canif, he skillfully swapped out one of his rounds for a substitute that was 7 times stronger to abuse Canif's lack of knowledge on weaponry. In his past, he made a fake passport for his assistant, which is how she got the name Maya in the first place. As his greatest enemy, he was able to collect a profound level of data on Kirei. We know that he set up traps at the church and the Tosuka mansion just to get the upper hand on Kirei. He resisted the ploy of Angra Manyu despite it being everything that he fought for up until that point in time. Think about it. He didn't talk to Saber for the entire war, and they still had better synergy than teams that talked to each other the whole time. In FGO, we saw that his assassin variant tanked the blast from Rhino kindness and was unbothered. She straight up admits if it wasn't for her mystic code, then his guns would blow her core to pieces. She also mentions that his movements are too fast to keep up by the eye. Even with the efforts of her and her mystic code combined, they could hardly keep up. He was unfazed by the persona's presence concealment due to him outright being the better assassin. What else does my guy have to prove? He literally won the 4th war. He's got time manipulation. He's been a trained mercenary since he was a child. He can outsmart nearly anybody that he goes against. He's outperforming mages with 9 generations of a head start in front of him. You gotta respect this man and give him his A rank. They don't call me the Magus Killer for nothing.